Hello, folks. Hello, folks. Welcome to the first live of 2022. We're here with the one and only Joshua Lisec, master of persuasion, master of writing, guy who's going to add $12 bazillion to your bottom line. Joshua, welcome to Redbeard Live.
I am glad to be here with you, Brian. This is fun. Thank you.
I am so excited because you're going to tell us how to persuade people better. And did you know that I have a business degree, but there was not a single class in persuasion in 4 years of college. There's not a single class on selling. There wasn't even a class on persuasive writing. I think there was probably an English class, but there wasn't a writing class. So when I look at what you're doing with your Best Way newsletter, you're taking everything I learned in college. You're actually taking everything I didn't learn in college, and you're saying, hey there, this matters. And I tell you, when I looked at the price tag, I thought, okay, if I make a single sale of basically anything I sell, then my ROI is going to be positive. So all I have to do is, over the course of the year that I bought into your thing for, if I get a single sale, my ROI is positive. And if I help a single client make a single sale for them, my ROI is through the roof. So I'm excited today to go share the Best Way newsletter with people, help them understand why it is that they should go do something more than watching free YouTube videos or watching any of the free content out there, and why it is that they should put down money on something. Which remind us, what are the prices for the Best Way newsletter?
Yeah. So the lowest end is the equivalent of $33 a month.
Great.
A month. Eventually, I'll have to get up to $99 a month. For now, get in the lowest end, and it's equivalent of the 12 months. If you get the annual plan without a live Q&A, hey, you can get in for $33 a month on average. Great. And the way that I think about it is, anytime that I'm buying into something, if I'm going to do the monthly plan, like I actually go for the monthly plan, what does that mean? That means I'm not serious about it. I'm going to cancel after 1 month, as opposed to when I join this or that mastermind or I get into that group.
Yeah.
And I want to actually participate. What do? I get an annual plan. So I specifically wanted to only cater to people who want to be with me for the year. Plus, if I'm going to commit to a year of newsletters, it would make sense that you commit to a year membership, minimum a year, obviously. And I decided to do newsletters, Brian, as you were saying. I have a lot of courses. I think I have like 10 courses. Mm-hmm. The thing I noticed about people who want to get into a course but have not gotten into a course, mine or someone else's, is time. Meaning, you got to open it up. You got to watch the video. You got to pay attention. You got to take notes. You got to do this. And if the video is good, that's great. But the problem is, in maybe a 2 hours worth of content, there's 2 minutes worth, 5 minutes worth, 10 minutes worth that you actually need to go and take action and get the result. And most courses are like that. So what I want to do with the Best Way newsletter series is to take these skills, for example, writing a best-selling nonfiction book, the skills you need for that. Let's say copywriting, sales copy, and hypnotize readers so that they find themselves unconsciously tapping the buy button. Mm-hmm. That's a talent that everyone wants to have. But is the best way to learn it to spend thousands on copywriting courses? If you can learn the 80-20, so to speak, the essentials that get you to being proficient. Now, nobody needs to be experts at everything. The idea of talent stacking, as Scott Adams says, is to bring in a bunch of skills, stack them all together, and now you are really the world's best at that particular talent stack. And so these are action guides. Best way to copyright it is coming out in February. Best way to make money writing books. Best way to make money selling books was this month, basically marketing books and any other products, because books are hard to sell because they are a product that does nothing. They have absolutely no functional value. You have to pick them up, you have to read them, you have to consume them. They're not like a water bottle or a pen or a Logitech high definition camera for your computer.
For people,
so anyway, what works for selling books, it works for selling everything else.
For people who have the great fortune of today being the first day they've ever heard of you, how much money have you and all the books you've written sold for your clients?
Well,
I know you can't measure exactly.
Yeah. I haven't run the numbers on that. And I mean, several people I know personally have told me in the last year or so that they created anywhere from hundreds of thousands to multiple millions from the book that had not been there previously. As in, It's not like, oh, we bought, we sold the book and then we also sold these other things. No. They are able to track revenue from people who bought the book. People who buy the book get on their newsletter. People who go from the book to the newsletter to the webinar to the coaching for $5,000 a month. Mm-hmm. They come all the way back to, I heard about you for the first time when I bought your book. So that's how it rolls. And then there's a kind of an infamous little case study about a nice to have product, the ultimate nice to have product of an electronic chess set, a Kickstarter for it. Their campaign goal was 6,000, and I wrote their sales letter, and they made 1.9 million in their fundraising for that. That case study has made its way around the internet.
Yeah. So I think, and how many books have you written again? Have you
65.
65. So maybe you're not at $1 million generated per book. Maybe you're only at like $500,000. We don't really know exactly, but you've generated maybe 30 million, maybe more for clients with your books. That's part of what's exciting for me about why I bought the Best Way newsletter is, given your 30 million plus sales you've created through your writing, that if I get one good idea from you, and the chances that I'll get one good idea this year seem very high, seems very likely. So yeah, I dropped my affiliate link in the Twitter note on this for folks who want to go get the Best Way newsletter. But I want to talk some about persuasion in writing, and about why is it, and I'm including myself here, folks, not too egotistical for this, why is it that so many of us write unpersuasively? You've seen this, I'm sure, with all your clients. I notice this myself, and sometimes I notice, oh, I phrased this thing perfectly. It happens. But of course, that really means the other things I'm phrasing are not persuasive, or they're anti-persuasive, like you say. And I'm curious, why is it that otherwise smart people, including myself, on a regular basis, we write things, whether it's this email subject line, sales page thing, we're like, and if you look at it a year later and you go, who wrote that? That person is an idiot and should be fired and should work at Dairy Queen, because they don't actually, like, why is it that so many of us do that? We don't write persuasively.
The reason we don't write persuasively is we fail to recognize that persuasion is a zero-sum game. Most alleged zero-sum games, meaning where there's only a winner and there's only a loser, alleged zero-sum games are not actually zero-sum games. We put the pressure on ourselves when we go to play golf with our friends. That's not a zero-sum game. You have the lowest score, you win absolutely nothing but bragging rights for the next half an hour, and then everyone forgets. Persuasion is actually a zero-sum game because it's binary, as in there is, I say yes, I say no. I buy, I don't buy. There is no 80% progress towards buying. Either the customer is persuaded or they're not. Either the child is persuaded to have their vegetables or they're not. Zero sum. And because we fail to recognize that, we fail to put in the effort needed to go from the default. Assume that the default answer is always no.
Yeah.
So something about children that teach you this. A child's default answer is no, because of the status quo, because the fact that they are constantly in various trance states. Up till about age 7 or 8 or so, children are constantly in a state of trance. And when you're in a trance and you're locked into it, as children are, if anyone who's played with a toddler will recognize this, it's impossible for them while in a trance to hear the question being asked. Their status quo is set. And so just telling them to do something is anti-persuasive. Buy my product. No. Go clean your room. No. Customers are like children. The default answer is no, unless they're given a good reason. This is why you'll find that people who are effective copywriters tend to be more effective parents in terms of not having to use manipulation on their children or coercion or even violence. It's because they know how humans work and they know how to get a yes with ethics, with integrity, without being skeezy or sleazy, either as a parent or as a marketer.
So as you're talking, I'm thinking about, I give myself credit for partial jobs all the time. Like, yes, the Sunday, I got the garden more ready for the year than it was before. I didn't get it done. There's the list of things for the garden is long, but I got it more done. I get credit. Pat in the back, good work. Clean off your fingernails, winner.
Yes.
And that is reasonable for a lot of parts of life.
Yes.
But you're saying that attitude brought forward to copywriting is a recipe for failure.
Yes. Oh, okay, that was interesting. I think I'll consider that. Send me the
Yeah.
proposal. They just told you no. That's
Uh-huh.
like, that's interesting. I'll consider the carrots on my plate. That's a no. I'm not eating those. Give me the candy.
Uh-huh. So how do we break ourselves out of this behavioral pattern that works elsewhere? How do we condition ourselves or train ourselves to just have a different approach when we're selling?
I'm going to give a lesson, and there will be props. And this is going to be so much
we're
fun.
fancy today, folks. We get props.
There are going to be props here. So how do you write persuasively? Persuasively, what do we mean by that? The outcome of persuasion, specifically persuasive writing, because that's what I teach in my courses in the Best Way newsletter, is someone reads something and they say, wow, this is so good, I am going to break out of my own status quo. You have convinced me from 100% no to 100% yes, which is extremely difficult for anyone who's ever tried to sell anything online. From I've not bought your product yet, I'm in a state of no. My status quo is no, I haven't bought it. To get them from no to a yes, you have to persuade. So the result of persuasion is from 100% no to 100% yes. Again, not all games in life are zero-sum like this, like cleaning your garden or things that you have to do in the regular, like let's say chores or checking email or whatever have you, or even relationships, like with a spouse, for example. Don't necessarily want to play a zero-sum game with toddlers and prospective customers. You'll find that this works well. So here is the lesson. We're going to use a few examples. We will use this book right here. It is a book by Brendan Kane called 1 Million Followers. What is the book about? This book is effectively Social Media Marketing 101. Social Media Marketing 101. If Brendan had titled this book the obvious way, the go clean your room, the I told you so, the we're having dinner now, get in here, Social Media Marketing 101, no one cares. No one cares. Instead, what Brendan did is he gave us a headline, a subheadline, a title, subtitle that appeals to what we want. You want 1 million followers. How I built a massive social following in 30 days. Meaning, he set the example. He's leading by example. So everything that he's going to teach you in Social Media Marketing 101 is in alignment with the result you already want. There is something you already wanted, which is if you're in the market for social media marketing tips and advice, you see this, you buy it. You buy it. Simply because, oh, this is what I want. I don't want Social Media Marketing 101. This is the outcome that I want.
I just bought the book as you were talking because it sounds worthwhile. I'm going to go. I have my own prop, folks. One moment while I grab my own prop.
Might as well continue while Brian is giving the prop.
No, I got the prop, man.
Ooh,
so it's been old and coffee stained at this point, but this is my book. And the joke is that I wanted to call this the Plus Encyclopedia. That was my working title because it's an app. I'm one of the world experts on the app. I'm going to go write a book telling you all about how to use this thing. And then thankfully, the title sponsor, Viral Solutions, these brilliant people right here, said that's dumb. Being good marketers, they said, but what are people actually going to do as a result of all this good stuff you're going to teach them? And so they helped develop the title, 20 Easy Ways to Make Money with Plus This. And like, okay, yes, you have all these apps. They don't make you money. They just cost you money. If you already have Plus This, you want to make money with it. You want to make it easily. Okay. So simple. And so then the whole focus of the book is it's all just specific ways to go do these particular steps and you'll make more money easily because you followed the recipe right here. Brilliant. But it's funny looking back and saying my instinct was, what is this thing? It's an encyclopedia of how to use a tool. What am I going to call it? I look back and think, holy smokes, what an idiot. What an idiot. But of course, we know that's not confined to only my notion of how to title this book 4 years ago, right? We do that all over the place. We say, I'm going to give it a descriptive title. I'm going to call it Social Media 101. That's what it is. Shouldn't I call it that? For shame.
And ironically, Brendan probably had that in mind when he went to write the book. Is I want to write a book about social growth marketing or the ultimate guide to social media marketing. Yeah. No one cares.
No one cares. We'll talk
Speaking
about this
of
live
no one
stream. No one
caring,
cares.
yes, yes. And what can get someone to care about your thing? Well, they already care about something. People are self-interested. There's that acronym WIIFM with them. What's in it for me?
Mm-hmm.
That almost is the best lesson you've ever heard on persuasion. Almost. What's missing is this. What's in it the most for me? Give me an example. Give me an example. If my son is, let's say, having trouble coming to the dinner table, food's out, starting to get cold, people are waiting, and I were to say, hey, come to the dinner table because there's going to be this cool, set of, beans and rice over there, and it's going to taste good, and this blah, 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 and we're going to make your celery and your carrots in the shape of a snowman or something like that, right? So that you'll have a good time, but whatever, right? That probably won't do it for him. Why won't it do it for him? Now, again,
that's not what they want.
Every parent could just drag them in there kicking and screaming, and then it's miserable for everyone. And so everyone loses. You go from one side losing to all sides losing. Lose-lose situation. I want to avoid lose-lose situations as much as possible.
Yeah.
So I told my son what's in it for him. But is that what's in it the most for him? No. In order to do that, I need to find out, what does he want the most? And if he says, I don't want to come to dinner. I say, why do you want to come to dinner? And then he usually say, because if I come to dinner, the fun's going to end. So I ask him, what do we need to do at the dinner table for it to be fun? You have any ideas? Could we do this? And if he doesn't have anything, could we do this? We could bring a couple of toys at the dinner table and show him to mama or show him to grandpa or whatever. Completely changes the mood. Goes from an instant no to a easy yes. Most of the time. Sometimes like he has to go to the bathroom or something. And that's what the resistance is. Or he's frustrated about something. But what's in it the most? I had to ask him to find out. What works with toddlers works in targeting customers. What's in it the most for them? I'll give you an example of this. Like an actual case study of what's in it the most. Instant no. Yes. Here we go. This is one of, I believe, our clients, Dr. Philip Ovadia. Stay off my operating table. This is his book. And of course, he and I have done videos together, and he's happy to say I was the writing partner behind this and kind of the project manager, ghost publishing guy, everything behind the kind of scenes there with his book. So when Dr. Vita came to me, he said he wanted to write a book on heart health. Yeah, of course.
It's a good book.
He said, I want to write a book. So he came with, I have an idea for a book, and then this is the end result, which is pretty cool. The whole shebang. So when he came to me, it was, I want to write a book on heart health. Okay. We could have called it the heart health book. The obvious, what's in it for? Well, you care about heart health, right? Well, is that what's in it the most for customers? We didn't know. So like me and my son at dinner time, we asked them. And the asking took the form of market research. I did the very beginning of our adventure together, adventure called Authorship. Looked at the reviews on other books that are on heart health, that are on nutrition, from the broad to the narrow, that are like keto, low carb books, the reviews. What disappointed people in those books? This is essential for persuasive writing, is knowing what's in it the most for your customers. Meaning, what did they want to get from other things that they've bought that they didn't and are disappointed in? So if you can not just give them what they want the most, but you can right the wrongs of the past and you can undo the mistakes of others, you win biggest. You win biggest. And so when we looked at who Dr. Avadia's audience was, it's going to be men in their 50s who are married, have 2 kids, hopeful that they have grandkids in the future. One, possibly 2 kids is already in adulthood, kind of seeing their future together. And they're having trouble playing golf like they used to. They're a little more overweight than they were. I had to get a new set of clothes this past holiday season. They're concerned about blood pressure for the first time. They're getting winded, going down steps for the first time in their lives. The doctor says, you should fix that. You should stop eating so many fats. Irony, right? And it's not going well. You have a family history, heart disease. That's where they're at. And they know that their dad had a heart attack at 60. And now here they are in their 50s, and they see themselves having a similar fate and being unable to play with their grandkids someday because they died from a heart attack. Or they just didn't have the energy because they were recovering from heart disease or heart attack or stroke or what have you. And so what is most important to that person? What's most important to that person is to not have to have heart surgery. And so the title is Stay Off My Operating Table, because that is the number one fear of Dr. Video's audience, is that they are unable to do so. And so he's promising what they want most. Now we expand on that. How do you go ahead and provide that? As in, how does he keep you off the operating table? This is the context, right? So we start with the title, the headline, right? The ultimate, what they want most is to not have heart disease and need surgery, which they might not survive. Because some heart surgeries you don't come back from, like Dr. Video talks about in the book. And so if you look at the subtitle of this book, you can see it here, A Heart Surgeon's Metabolic Health Guide to, this is fun here. We started off with about a list of 20 outcomes that the man who's going to be this book is marketed to, the person that this book is marketed to, wants. Like 20 outcomes. We whittle them down to the ones that they want the most, meaning they showed up the most in the reviews of those other books. I bought this book on heart health because I'm concerned about this. I bought this diet book because I want this. I'm trying yoga for this, and I feel silly wearing a leotard. The idea. So the subtitle of this book is A Heart Surgeon's Metabolic Health Guide to, here are the 3 outcomes they want the most: lose weight, prevent disease, and feel your best every day. And so we expanded on Stay Off My Operating Table. That's what they're afraid of the most. And so if we can allay their fears, we win. And there's this fantastic book called the One Sentence Persuasion course. One of which the phrases in the One Sentence Persuasion course is allay their fears. And so that's what the title of this book does. And the subtitle explains how you go about doing that. The what and then the how. And the what is the number one most important thing. What's in it for them the most? And then coming back to my son, what's in it for him the most is that the fun continues. And it's even more fun because now your family gets to be involved. And it just so happens we're eating dinner.
So you're tying together both what are they afraid of, also what are the benefits, but you're also not trying to be a wise man on a mountain who goes and sits up on the top of the mountain and bring down knowledge. You're more on the streets, listening to people, intentionally listening to people to go and come out with a result, which we know the background of the sales of this book. The result is great. Yes. The result is great. So talk to me about the exercise you just took us through that you did with Phil. When someone goes and joins the Best Way newsletter, is that the kind of exercise they're going to get each month? Or what's the relationship between that kind of your concierge, I'm going to help you write a book, versus just buying into the newsletter?
Yes. So the idea of the newsletter is, if I am not there showing you, talking through it with you, what do you need in order to do it yourself and actually succeed? Right? There's an attempt, right? It's like how do you build a Lego set without instructions? Well, you need the instructions, right? So they are the Lego instructions of written persuasion for different things. So there's about writing a book. That was issue 0. So anytime anyone ever joins, you get the very first issue, the best way to write a book. And then there's the January issue, which only January subscribers got, the best way to make money writing books, best way to make money selling books. And then February, for everyone, basically when you join, you get the next month automatically. You miss that month, well then tough. You got to wait till next time. So February issue is going to be how to make money copyright, the best way to copyright it. So how do I teach? I teach with this. What are the only things you need to know to be able to do the thing? So in order to write effective sales copy, what are the only things you need to know? And I actually turn that into a checklist of exercises so that you open up your email. If you're a 2-screener like me, you open up your email on one screen. Okay, here's the instructions, and you have it on the other screen. It is that stinking simple. You'll do it yourself. And I go beyond that, which is with this. Here's how you know you're doing it right. Meaning, this is the sort of feedback that you should need to be looking for. This is the outcome you need to be looking for. If you're not getting it, adjust this, or this. That sort of instruction. And so it's the Lego instructions of written persuasion, step by step with no step skipped.
My truck died recently, and it had just had the engine replaced. So I thought, okay, well, the shop did something wrong, of course. Now it's been cold here, and cold can sap batteries, whatever. So I have tools though, and I've very, very amateur mechanics. So I went and I did my rubric, my checklist. I went ahead and I measured the battery's voltage. I reported that back to the auto shop. I used the jump starter thing to try to jump start. I went to my rubric, and the answer was get it towed, because it's not, even if you could get it started with a full jump start, it's not safe to drive. AAA shows up. This guy with a different checklist goes and gets it started immediately and says, okay, we measured the voltage with, again, it's fine. And he talks to his person at his shop, and the answer is the truck's fine. It just didn't get run for a couple of weeks during a time of protracted cold. It's fine. The battery's probably fine. Here's how to find out. And now each time I drive it, I now check, because I have the fancy tool to check what's the exact voltage. It's always fine. That I used a checklist, which wasn't a bad checklist. It just wasn't right this time. And I thought I had a serious get your truck towed issue. I didn't. I just used the wrong checklist, and then didn't have used my vehicle for a while until I finally, it's sort of annoying, because I did all these things thinking I was like, I got the tools, man. Wrong checklist.
That's right. And how that translates to any type of guide and written instruction is you want to assume user error is going to happen. Thinking through, if a user can make an error with this, following these instructions, they will. And you'll find that the best instructions assume that. And so when I write, let's say, the instructions for the best way to write a book, or the best way to copyright it, which is the February issue of the newsletter, I am writing it assuming that user error can happen. Now, user error is the blame game way of saying the person writing the documentation screwed it up, and it was unclear. It was unclear. So really, if user error is a possibility, that means the writer of the instructions screwed them up, because it was not clear enough to be able to follow the instructions. And so, knowing that, I thought, why not simply tell everyone everything they need to know step by step with no step skipped in written format so they can access it? It sounds simple, but you'll find that most instructions are not written that way. It's like tactics and tips. For example, if your sales letter isn't converting, make the font twice as big. Well, it doesn't actually tell you if your headline was right, if you got what's in it the most for me, if some other part of the formatting is off, if the structure of the sales letter itself is off. And so we end up in this kind of tactic chasing place where we just got to say the exact right thing in that one little tactic that's going to fix everything. And you see that also with parenting. Like, what's that one zinger I can say to my kid to shut them up? It doesn't work that way. And yet that's what we're all searching for. And so it could be that the best way newsletter is giving people what they need, maybe not what they want.
What I want is more sales. And I know that if there's 100 different aspects of any sales process, probably 80% of those at least don't matter, or don't matter very much. And there's probably a handful that matter, but I can't know in advance. And so I both have to make my podcast better, and also make my sales page better, and also make the actual experience of being inside my membership better, and also make my affiliate program better. That I don't know which of these is going to have the bigger impact. Is having higher audio quality in the podcast more important than having good guests? Definitely not. Is frequency more important than quality of show notes? I can't know. So I just got to go keep on optimizing different bits. And I'm excited when you say the way to copyright it, because I think, well, yeah, I can go take, let's say, the sales page for the accelerator at joinredbeard.com and just compare it and say, okay, well, in what way is this current sales page, which is getting some results, but not as much as I want, like everything, in what way is this not adhering to this checklist? And then just go do the thing, because you have over $30 million of results. And I want over $30 million of results. So from this particular project. So there we go.
That's the best way to put it. And I think there's a useful takeaway from both of these books that we've looked at. One of our client, Dr. Philip Ovadia, and then this one here by Brendan King, 1 million followers. Both of the headlines you see here are the outcome. What I see a lot of sales pages a mistake that's made, and it's not just with sales pages, it's I'm putting this email in front of you for the first time. I am putting this article in front of you for the first time, putting this video in front of you for the first time. Anytime something is to be consumed, is being put in front of someone for the first time, you got to lead with what's in it for them. And it sounds kind of obvious, but you'll see how often this mistake is made. Even by big traditional publishers releasing a book with these boring ass titles that it's like, how did that get? Oh, they don't know anything about they don't know anything about persuasion. How to format a book, maybe, but not about how to persuade. And so think about everything that you are writing. This is the best way to audit your funnel right here. Is go and look at everything that you have inside of your funnel. And maybe your funnel is like, a tweet thread or two, and then the link to booking a sales call with you. That's your funnel. Okay, that works. That works. So the very first thing people see each time, you ask them to do something. So does the first tweet in the thread lead with what's in it for them? As in what's in it the most for them? Oftentimes, if the problem is the funnel's not converting well, it is not leading with what's in it for them the most. If you go and look at the sales page, or maybe the sales page, or the book a call with me page, if you just look at the very first thing people see before you ask them to do something, does it lead with what's in it for them? Well, you'll often find if the result is disappointing, it does not. It does not. And so that's also the fastest way to audit. And so this level of granular instructions, go do this thing right now and look at this. That's how I think about giving instructions, because the problem with anytime you're giving advice is people say, oh, that's good advice. And then they'll try to go and do it themselves. And they're like, well, where do I start? You need to be able to teach someone to start where they need to start, finish where they need to finish, and make sure they're getting the feedback they need in order to know that they're doing it right or not. That's the best way to teach anything. Hey, there we go. Best way to teach it. And it's how I teach via the newsletter. And so that's the best way to audit your funnel, is look at everything people see for the first time, the first thing that they see. And that could be email newsletters that could go out. That could be the headline on it. And it's often not leading with what's in it for you if you consume this content. I even do that with my own sales page for my booking a call with me. I think it's entrepreneurswordsmith.com/book. Booking a call with me. I could just say, book a discovery call. Wrong. That's not it. Nothing is in it for them. That's like Brendan calling his book Social Media Marketing 101. That's what's in it for me. That's what's not in it for them. Could I call it Talk to Joshua Lisec? If you don't know who I am, well, that's not really what they want. So what do I call it? I call a session with me, a sales call, I call it the Profitable Book Roadmap. Because it's during that conversation, we lay out what's it going to take for you to write a profitable book. And the answer may be there isn't one. And I've gotten to that point in 5-10 minutes with someone on a call. And I've told them, you should not write a book, period. You will not make money off it. It will be a sink of money, a money pit, they call it. So I tell them not to. But that's what I call a sales call with me, because it's true for number one, because if there is in fact a profitable book that they can write, then I'm the best person to help them do that. And they recognize that because I'm the one who showed them how they can write a profitable book, how to leverage it, how to monetize the content, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so it's not hard for them to go from, oh, wow, I want to do this, to, oh, wow, I want to do this, and I want to know you, Joshua, because the ROI is easily there.
And on that page, you talk about 3 specific things. You have your sales agenda here, and you have those 3 specific things that someone really needs to know before they make a decision about, am I going to invest these resources or not of their time and money? So I love it. Best Way newsletter, folks, on Twitter, the link is there, but it's also joshualisec.com or .gumroad.com. This is where you can go find it. Is right there. That's the place to go. And the sooner you join in, the more likely you are to get the next edition and not miss one of these months. Thank you, Joshua, for sharing with us all this persuasion stuff. I'm going to go rewrite everything now because I'm embarrassed. That's the one downside of interviewing people who are experts, is you go like, Oh crap. Like talk to a strength training guy. Oh man, I'm really weak. Talk to a copywriter. I don't know how to write with crap. Talk to a podcaster. My podcast is horrible. Like you just feel this constant, there's too much to do. And let's end with this. What do you do with people who they talk to you, they take your course, they read the Best Way newsletter and they go, crap, I have to write everything, every email, every sales letter, every tweet thread. I am doomed. How do you help people focus on where to go apply what they're learning from you to make money the fastest?
Let's go back to the automobile you were talking about earlier, on an automobile metaphor, because I think this is helpful. If the car is not starting, what is number one priority? Is it to clean off the muck and grime and salt from the road so you can see better out of the back window? I mean, it probably would be nice to be able to see out of the back window. But if the car's not starting, you're not thinking, wow, we need to tow this. First thing we need to do is tow this dead car to the gas station, to squeegee the back window. Like most people squeegee the back window of their broken ass funnel. Or they have a book idea. Oh, I really need to come up with just a zinger of a title, the perfect headline. Yeah, well, no one's going to finish your book. If they're not going to finish your book because it sucks and the structure doesn't make any sense and the content does not fulfill the promise made in the title and the subtitle, they're not going to share it with their friends. They're not going to share it with their friends. You're not going to make money from word of mouth marketing, which is the number one way books are sold. And so put the squeegee down and look for the part of your funnel, the part of your ecosystem of sales online or wherever your business is located. Where is the battery that's not turning the car on? Why isn't the car coming on? So focus on the most essential thing. The biggest thing that, if changed, makes everything else your top priority. So think about it this way. If you got other things fixed, you'll be able to focus on squeegeeing your dirty ass back window. If you are able to focus your entire effort on the perfect title for your book, what would have had to have gotten done? Well, you would have needed to fix the structure of your book and have chapter titles that are exciting and coherent and move readers through the book so they'll actually finish it and then get on your newsletter and go from reading your book to being a newsletter subscriber to being a customer to being a high-ticket client, and you make all the monies off of your book. So that's the best way to think about where to start when it comes to fixing your stuff.
Put the squeegee down, pay attention to the battery instead. For more car tips, follow Joshua on Twitter.
The best way to drive it.
The best way to drive it. So many good book titles. Maybe not good book titles. I don't know. That's your department. Joshua, thank you for coming on the show. And I'm excited to go see February's edition, The Best Way to Copyright It, so I can go apply that to myself and also other sales pages that I'm responsible for. And, even a 1% increase in revenue creates an incredible ROI. If you got a sales page that 100,000 is moving through it a year and you can increase it by 1% a month, you're going to do just fine. And if there's a big problem, maybe you can increase it by 10% or 20% by better writing on that page, which could be a huge change in your revenue from just one sales page. Okay, folks, we'll see you next time on Red Bearded Live. Take care.
Thanks, Brian.